on these Harley Davidson Evo cylinders. These are off of a Sportster, but they're pretty much the same on a big twin. They're the same size as far as piston goes, both 3.498. Big twin cylinders are just a little bit longer. So what you got here with these cylinders are actually honed to size. So you're not actually going to measure the piston. It's going to have a stamp on the top of it unless you're using aftermarket pistons. And what you'll end up with, this is a 3.4975 inch cylinder. Big twins are 3.498, so slight difference. But this is a barrel face piston, so you don't really measure these because there's no real way to correctly measure them because they're barrel faced. You can get them close, but they're not going to be perfect. So they always go off with the bore size on these things. It's a good idea if you have them off, you're doing base gaskets or whatever, run a dial bore gauge down here. What happens on Evos, especially big twins, is they distort a lot down here at the bottom. I don't have torque plates on here. Of course, if you're doing machine work, you're going to want to use torque plates on there. We're measuring them, but I don't have torque plates right now, so just information only. You got your y-axis, which is front and back, and your x-axis, which is sideways. On big twins especially, what happens is they'll distort in a way that it actually shrinks this way. So just say it's supposed to be 3.498, and sometimes you run a dial bore gauge down there, and it'll be really tight right across here. It'll actually be smaller, a lot smaller. I've had them as much as 2,000 or 3,000 smaller across this face here. And what happens on the piston, it's not on this one, but you'll see like an oval mark right here in this area where it's actually reforged the piston smaller. Now, most of the time you can get that out with a rigid hone. You put your torque plates on there and hone it. You can get it out with using like a 5/0 piston just by honing it. So I got this measured out here. We're gonna stick this down in there. I can see the damn numbers here. So yeah, this is all the way at the top, and you see where we're all the way at the bottom of the cylinder here. You see we're slightly over by a little bit. We go in the middle here. You see we're back at 0, and we'll go down the bottom, and you see we're slightly under 0 down at the very top. Now we're going to switch to the x-axis and check in. If you see, that's at the top all the way on the x-axis. You can see we're slightly off again from where it was. Y-axis. Here we're in the middle now. And you see that one's quite a bit off of where it should be. All the way to the top. And this is the x-axis all the way at the bottom of the cylinder. That's pretty much it. The cylinder isn't really that straight. That cylinder really isn't that straight. Now what you're going to want to do is write down, remember you're going to measure it in like 6 places. So very bottom, middle, top. Same thing with x-axis. Very bottom, middle, top. And torque plates are going to make a difference, but this was just for demonstration purposes. So what you want to do is write all these numbers down and compare them to get your taper and out around. Now, out around is just going to be like it says. If it's this number here doesn't match this number here, it's out around. All the way down the cylinder. Around. So I've had them before where you take something off and you measure it, and I've had them before where there's a 7 thousandths difference between being add around and tapered. Like I said, usually these things close up down at the bottom here, and this axis right here will actually pull in, get tighter, kind of egg shapes to where the skirt here will be wider on the sides, thinner this way. And you can tell if you pull the top off, and it's always not just the rings. So, if you got a lot of oil going in the combustion chamber, your cylinder can be quite a bit out around. As a general rule of thumb, we call them green cylinders. It's like a brand new cylinder. They're all going to distort from brand new. If you take a cylinder that's old and had a lot of heat cycles through it, it's molecules and the cast iron are going to take a set. So once you straighten them out, they're more likely to stay straight. So this cylinder here, if I was going to use it again, I'm not, because it's got a bunch of broken fins off of it. But if I was going to use a cylinder, I'd want an old cylinder. As a general rule of thumb, it's going to stay straighter longer than a brand new cylinder. I'm just repeating that because it's true. And really, that's pretty much it. Got taper is another one. On the taper, it just means that they used to machine taper into the cylinder when they used tapered pistons a long time, 100 years ago. They would want a taper, so the piston fits in there on the taper. Modern stuff, barrel face piston like this, you don't really want that. So we don't want that around. We don't want taper, I guess is what I'm saying. That's pretty much it. Good idea if you have a cylinder off, if you're doing base gaskets or whatever, to go ahead and measure the cylinder and see how far out around and tapered it is. So if you have them off and you want to do it right, get them straight instead of just running a berry ball down through them to put a new crosshatch in there. That's what you need to do. And when you hone it, you're not using one of them spring hones, because them things, you ain't getting a round cylinder with them things. All that's doing is scratching up the surface. You want to use a rigid hone, 4-stone rigid hone, or whoever. Mine's I got mine from Goodson Tool 20 years ago. Still got it around here somewhere. I don't use it as much anymore. Well, actually, I don't hardly use it at all because I don't have torque plates anymore. So. But that's about it. Hope you guys have a great week coming up. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, commenting, all that stuff. Guys, take care.